Hello, Internet. I'm Haley.
And I'm Dustin.
And we are doing a Deadpool Heroclix unboxing.
This is actually a set that I've been looking forward to, probably more than any other Heroclix set in a while. It's got a lot of cool pieces in there, and I think they're going to be a lot of fun.
Same for me. I'm excited for Squirrel Girl and all her friends, like Tippy Toe.
I have a whole brick to open up, which is 10 boosters, but we're not going to do all the figures. You're going to get 50 figures in each brick, but it'd be a long video to do each of them, so I think we're going to highlight one figure from each booster. So you're going to get 10 in-depth looks at the figures as we unbox, and the rest of them you can go online and find the dials for them elsewhere.
Let's see what cool stuff we got. So in this one, we've got Living Brain, Angel Dust, Tombstone, Dark Deadpool. He's got a chainsaw and a gimp suit, and Attending. And it looks like the rare in this one is Living Brain. He is a little green robot guy.
Living Brain originally appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 8 and was originally like one of the world's most powerful computers, which is why he is a giant punch card box with glowing lights, because that's what the most powerful computer would have looked like in 1963. And he almost deduced that Spider-Man and Peter Parker were one and the same person.
So he has a special attack when Living Brain or an adjacent friendly character with the scientist keyword uses Outwit, Perplex, or Probability Control. Its minimum range value is 10.
Outwit used to be 10 all the time, but now with Outwit being limited to your range and Perplex and Prob, your little guys have to get in the mix, and it's very probable for them to get killed in the process. So Living Brain lets you go beyond that and outwits 10 himself, but also little scientist guys like a superior Spider-Man could be way in the back and pose a huge threat to your opponent's major pieces.
And he's only 70 points.
He's not much of a attacker or threat. He can do okay. He can do up to like 2 or 3 damage in a turn, but he's really there for the support, and he's got a pretty long dial, all things considered, for what he is. And
for 70 points, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. And it's just cool to see a really old school classic Spidey villain come in. Oh, all right. Actually, some really cool figures in this one. We have Asp, You-Go Girl, Cable, Hit Monkey, who's awesome, and again, never thought I'd see him. Dead Girl here is the super rare in that pack. The X-Statix and Dead Girl here, no exception, has a trait Headlines. So when she hits one or more opposing characters after its resolve, you give her a headline token. And so she, like the other X-Statix, gets a headline token, and so You-Go Girl, who's in the same pack, gets one as well. So these are tabloid covers that can be used as tokens to mark the cards, and we'll have different weird stories based on the celebrity hound.
I am happy to see Mike Allred art on here. He's one of my favorite artists. I haven't been able to read the X-Statix, but in addition to having like his really nice art, the sculpt looks really nice too. I like all these little skulls on the bottom. I think there's a lot of good detail in this one.
So aside from the headline tokens, what these do is they'll enhance the powers of the X-Statix. So Dead Girl has her trait Living Dead Girl. At the beginning of your turn, if she has at least one of the headline tokens, you heal her a click. If she has 3 headline tokens, then she'd be KO'd. Instead, you remove the tokens and she goes back to click 3. So she's really tough to put down if she's managed to hit somebody. Her other main attraction is her Tombstone Talons and Coffin Nails, which is Blades, Claws, Fangs, which is always useful. But in addition, any character that she hits with that power cannot use stop clicks. So characters like Bizarro Green Arrow, the Captain American Iron Man from Civil War, any of the really long-lived pieces like that, she'll cut right through them and knock them straight to KO.
Additionally, she's 75 points with 6 clicks of health. Pretty good life for her point value.
Well, especially with her healing and everything, that'll help her out quite a bit.
I see a Deadpool character. Ooh, I have this meta awesome Deadpool guy here. He's on a Heroclix board, which is pretty amazing. Stingray. Alright, I know him from Legendary. Another Dark Deadpool. Grizzly. And Madcap, who's like a Western cowboy guy in Deadpool. No, he's got a cowboy hat. And he looks like the yellow dude from Sin City. So first of all, let's take a look at this amazing piece. I'm surprised actually that we didn't see this sooner, because this is what Deadpool is. Very meta and breaking the fourth wall. So he's a Heroclix within a Heroclix.
It's funny you use the word meta, because he is both potentially a piece in the meta of the game, but also Deadpool is just meta-textual and making fun of the game as if he was self-aware.
I think you know probably more than I do.
Alright,
so
let's summarize this. The abilities of the title characters. This is a new thing so far Deadpool is the only one. Essentially, he has 3 abilities on him. They're all free action, but you can only do 1 each turn. The first one heals him 1 click, or up to 1. So you can still use it even if he is on his top click to heal 0 clicks. And that gives him a plot point, which is essentially just another type of token. So it gives him +1. Now when he builds those up, he can use them for other abilities. So he can use one of his free actions and remove 2 of those plot points to make it so your opposing characters can't modify their stats. So something similar to the Nighthawk Prime, where you can shut off modifiers for your opponent. Now if you save up longer, you can spend 6 of those accumulated plot points, and he makes a ranged attack that ignores hindering and other characters, and he can shoot while based, and it hits everyone up to his range. So in a 6 square circle around him, and anyone that hits takes 2 penetrating damage, and when he does that, he can use probability control 1 time during the roll. So that is his essentially slow-mo bullet time, it says. So he's going into the Matrix during that mode.
All of that for 70 points with 8 clicks of health. I think you might be right about it being a meta piece. Yeah. I'm curious to see in the future of the game how this is going to come into play. I think it's going to be utilized a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like, it could be good or bad for you. One of the passes, obviously, you said he's only 70 points. He has a solid dial, and it's 8 clicks.
And potential to wreck a team.
Right, and he can heal, or he can maybe kill a whole bunch of people, depending. But if he gets KO'd, all of your figures also get 2 action tokens as a penalty. So you really need to keep him protected at the same time. On to pack number 4. Oh, here's one of your favorites.
Yay! Yeah. I see her.
There you go. All right.
This is the one I'm most excited for.
Yep. All right. So we have in this pack Common Wolverine, Common Asp, Uncommon Deadpool doing the Buddy Christ, Uncommon Phantom X, and I think we'll go over your favorite here, the rare Squirrel Girl.
First of all, her dial is amazing with the little squirrels hopping off from the side. I'm really happy with how this came out.
Squirrel Girl also has a gatefold card, but she is not a wall of text. Rather, she has a couple pogs that she can make.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, she has squirrels. She makes squirrels. So with her, whenever she has a 1 action token on her, she can place it in adjacent squirrel bystander. So you take an action with her, you put a token down, wherever put a squirrel in play. Next turn, before she clears, you put another one down. And those guys are little leap climby tie-up pieces. Or, aside from having her hide behind a wall of squirrels, you can have her put on squirrel armor. So if she makes 3 of them, you can remove them from the game to give her +1 to all of her combat values for the rest of the game. Or, if your opponent really leaves her alone for long enough, and she makes 6 of those squirrel bystanders, then you can absorb all of them to make a Squirrel Man.
Her stats, she has 6 clicks of health for 85 points. She has charge, toughness, and exploit for her first 2 clicks. Loses toughness, but she still has charge and exploit. I think she's a really solid piece. I'm very, very excited to use her and make a Squirrel Man. Ultra Chit now. Another one of my friends. So we've got Chipmunk Hunk, 2 of her friends. Chipmunk Hunk, Tippy Toe, Slapstick, Koi Boy. Oh, all of her friends are in this one. This is like the Squirrel Girl entourage pack here. And Marrow, showcasing Slapstick from this one. So he's got 2 traits, Mercs for Money. Each time another friendly character with the Heroes for Hire keyword KOs an opposing character, heal Slapstick 1 click. And Giant Hammer, he can use Giant Reach of 2. And then he also has a special attack called I've Got a Bad Case of Maladosis. When an opposing character takes damage from Slapstick's attack after actions resolve, The hit character can't move during its next turn and is immediately given an action token.
Slapstick is one of those really obscure 90s characters. He is essentially a living cartoon character, and it shows in his die. He's got a lot of defensive powers, a lot of shape change.
He's got Indom, which is always nice, especially for a 75-point character.
Right, so for being a cartoon character, he's really hard to damage because he's not really real. Along with the other mercs for money, there's 2 versions of each of them. One in their Deadpool mock-up suit and one in their original costume. And they have different traits depending on which one of those you have. So this one heals when his allies KO somebody. The other ones might get like a defense boost for being within proximity to each other.
He's got solid defense his entire clique.
I said he can't kill a tune.
Yeah, I mean he goes down to 16 and 15 in a couple places, but he ends on 18 and 17 regeneration. Not bad. 7 clicks of health for 75 points. I want to try him out.
Give him a shot. We've got a common Deadpool, common Mercenary generic, Domino uncommon, Psylocke uncommon, and Terror. Alright, so I'm going to highlight Terror here. He is another one of the mercs for money, which I mentioned before with Slapstick.
It's his alternate Deadpool suit.
Right, and his normal figure on the A sculpt in a brown trench coat, wearing a fedora and sunglasses because he's normally a detective. And he was originally featured in the book Terror Inc., which was one of Marvel's late 80s, early 90s Marvel epic titles, which featured European creators and were just very weird and different. Terror's thing is he's a mutated detective. He looks like a green corpse dude. He's got weird whisker things on his face. Right, yeah. He can rip body parts off of other people and put them on himself. He also gains the abilities, at least temporarily, of the people that he absorbed. Once per action for all characters with this trait, when another friendly character with a Deadpool core keyword would be KO'd, you may instead turn that character to its last non-KO click, then heal it 3 clicks. If you do, KO 1 friendly character with this trait. If you've got a couple of guys who've both taken damage, and one of them's about to die, but you think the other one is worse off, or you need the one who's about to get KO'd to stick around for their turn to do a counterattack, you can instead put the damage on their buddy, send him out, and then heal the one who would have been attacked. To represent his regeneration thing, lend me a hand or a head. Once per turn, when an adjacent standard character is KO'd, modify Terror's combat values by +1 until the end of the turn. So he can gets a little combat boost where he's absorbing their strength. He's
a 75-point character with 8 clicks of health, got some charge, toughness, goes into invuln, so some good stats on there as well.
Yeah, a lot of these guys can be very defensive. Not huge offense numbers, but they can be adjusted.
Decent. Will it be the Ultra Chase? Ooh.
Odds are no.
Big Colossus, he's pretty. Another Deadpool, what we already saw. You Go Girl again. There's the Ninja, Psylocke, and Wolverine. I'm not familiar with this costume, but I really like that orange color, like the orange, black, and silver, I think looks really nice.
That's from the Marvel Now version of X-Force, which featured him, Cable, Gambit, who I'm surprised actually isn't in the team, or in the set, and Dr. Nemesis.
So he's got trait super strength and a special movement. He can use charge and he breaks blocking. Pretty simple traits, but I like the ones that you can keep track of really easily. That's just ongoing. And that's generally how Colossus works. He usually has like a charge through walls kind of ongoing thing. He's got Indomitable, and he's the first character that we've seen who has 2 different starting click values, so you can play him at 150 or 80. Solid stats throughout.
One thing I like a lot is that at his 80-point dial, as well as his 150, he starts with 11 attack, 4 damage. So playing him at 80, you only pick up heavies instead of ultra heavies, but you're only losing 1 damage for 70 points. So he's really a value at 80. He's going to run in and hit someone pretty solidly with that 11 attack for 6 damage.
And I've never thought about it, but I think he's actually one of my favorite characters to play in general, just because he's always pretty reliable. Like, he's always going to be, depending on which one you choose, you're going to find a pretty solid Colossus.
Now being able to run through blocking terrain on this version, he can hide behind walls away from your opponent's range striker. Yeah, and then run through that wall and mash him in the face. Getting close to the end here. We have a common Massacre, Common Mercenary once again. Common Grizzlor. We have a Prime in here, and we have Dupe. I'll go ahead and look, though, at Thorn, since she is the Prime. Thorn here is the sister of Feral, who was on the 90s iteration of X-Force with Rob Liefeld. Her thing is just being super hard to take out from the looks of it. She has only a 5-click dial. She's 50 points. You know, it's not bad for 50 points, though. But she has trait shape change, always tough. And her special movement is she can use sidestep. You can give her a free action. She's within 3 squares and line of fire of an opposing character and place her adjacent to that character. So essentially, that lets her have a sidestep of 5. This one at least is still a free action, so you can still use it to base someone, even if she already has 2 action tokens. So it's a little different. The timing on it works a little differently, which is cool. And she has her special damage ability, which is not on her top click. She gets it on her 2 middle clicks, called I'm Better Alone. If Thorn isn't within 2 squares of a friendly character, increase her shape change roll by 2. She's really good at killing the small characters, because she can shimmy up to them with her shape change, take some shots. If she can get a little guy who only does like 2 damage, they'll knock her onto that shape change click that she has in the middle. So she'll shape change on 3 through 6, which are great odds anyway. She also has super senses to back that up, and then when it's time for her to attack again, she has flurry and blades and a solid 11 attack. So she's attacking twice for potentially up to 12 damage. Unfortunately, we got a Prime, so probably no chase in this brick, but hey, can't win them all.
This is my last booster. So more X-Statix here. We got Orphan, Bedlam, Stingray again. Or is it different? This is the other. This is Deadpool Stingray. Another Tippy Toe. And Fool Killer, who looks like another one in the Deadpool variant costume.
That he is.
So the rare I pulled is Orphan. So he's got the headlines again. Also, Mr. Sensitive. When Orphan would make an attack roll, you may remove any number of headline tokens from him to roll that many additional dice, and then ignore all but 2. If you do, this roll can't be re-rolled. That's a little crazy. And then he has special damage. The fans love our infighting. Orphan can use leadership. At the beginning of your turn, you may remove a headline token from a friendly character's card and place it on the card of another friendly character. So that's interesting. You can manipulate the tokens on the team.
Yeah, and that makes Orphan like the perfect like kind of field leader representation for them, because he's not the most powerful member of the team as far as his dial goes. I mean, 70 points, he's up there.
His click isn't as long either. We've seen a lot of 70-point characters like him with slightly longer dials. He's only got 5 clicks of life.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of manipulation. He's someone you probably want to hold back a little
being
bit.
able to move those tokens around lets him pick which power he needs. So he could save Dead Girl's life. He could make Anarchist Poison penetrating.
I love characters like this that give you a big variety of options to do. That's why I like Trinity War Batman so much, because you can just choose anything.
I like the thematic leadership abilities like this. He reminds me of like a Cyclops, where he's not the flashiest guy or heaviest hitter himself, but he does a lot of stuff for his team, and it really makes the team more playable because he's there kind of controlling the action. This is our last booster. Let's see if we go out with a bang here.
Ooh, I see one you're gonna like.
Oh yeah, okay. Alright, so in here with Common Deadpool, Common Wolverine, a Rogue Scientist, Solo, and our
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. Now I like his sculpt too, because he looks just like, he's even got his eyes are over to the side, he's all shifty looking. He's based on the design from the current comic series, where he's running a detective agency.
He's got his dukes up, like, put him up.
He does. That is his mastery of Quack Fu.
That's right.
Yep. So his mastery of Quack Fu lets him use sidestep, which is not a particularly flashy power, but he does. But he does get flurry later on his dial. And okay, so he can use incapacitate. That is his special attack power. When he does, he may target all adjacent opposing characters. So if he gets stuck in close combat, he can karate his way out of it. His big power, though, and he's a tiny sized character, it's worth noting, is on his damage. At the beginning of your turn, choose a standard power that an adjacent friendly character can use. Until your next turn, all characters within 6 squares and line of fire, Howard the Duck, can't use the chosen power.
So he's Peggy Carter.
Yeah, actually he has a very similar ability to that. His choice is more limited, because he has to be able to choose the power because an adjacent friendly character has it.
Okay.
He also does negate the power on everyone around him. He's cheaper too. Now, right away, my instinct is to put him with someone like the characters you just mentioned, like a Trinity War Batman or a Engineer, or in the newer stuff, Jakeem Thunder.
Oh, so Batman can pick the power, and then he can pick
Right,
that
yeah,
power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have one of those characters choose a power, and then Howard says, I'm going to pick that power you just picked, and now no one within 6 squares can use it.
Sneaky.
Right. Actually, if you have him choose a defensive power, and then have another character, maybe like from the back, carry him up within radius of that, it doesn't break that ability. It's until the end of the turn. And then like a heavy hitter can hypersonic whiz right by him and then land outside of his area of effect, so they don't get caught up in the defense negating ability. Even at 50 points, he's not bad. He reminds me a lot of something like Leech also, where you had to be careful with your positioning, but he did a big effect.
His stats, you can see he's very clearly not a character who's going to be taking out other characters for you. He's definitely more of a support piece.
He's only got that 2 damage, but he can still...
9 attack.
Yeah, he can still maybe hit somebody, though.
And at least his defense is decent, as long as he doesn't get hit by range. He's alright.
Right, and but he's tiny, so he gets +1 defense at range, too.
That's true.
So he's an 18 at range and 19 up close with stealth. So he can hide. He actually does pretty well. And if he does get knocked out of his middle clicks, he gets flurry, and so he goes up to a 10 attack. So he can flurry for 10 attack, 2 damage. So he can take out other support pieces pretty well. I guess that wraps up.
It does.
Okay, well,
So,
there's no Ultra Chase. Oh, man, so sad. But hey, you know, there's always the next brick.
We got Meta Deadpool, though, and I prefer him to the Ultra Chase. So.
Well, yeah, he's pretty cool. We'll do one of these again in the future, I think. There's, again, a lot of clicks coming out this year. We've got Avengers Defenders War. I'm really looking forward to this summer having the anniversary sets being What If and Elseworlds. And then at the end of the year, we're seeing the Mighty Thor. So we have a very Marvel-heavy year this year, which is fine by me.
And be sure to let us know in the comments below what your favorite piece was and what sets you're looking forward to. We'll see you next week.